health infrastructure in place so as to manage such pandemic in future. We also looked at the African debt trap, its implications and imperatives, and its impact on the economic recovery of the African countries after the COVID-19. Because we believe the debt servicing is costing the African countries a lot of money, which should have been going for service delivery. So the parliaments of Africa have come together to request the cancellation of the African debt so that this fund can be diverted to um, human capital development, focusing on health and education. We also talked about the importance of effective public finance management for quick economic recovery, because that is the area where Parliament should focus to provide oversight over the executive to manage the finances effectively. This also calls again in the post-COVID-19 era for inclusive and gender-sensitive budget, because the COVID has affected the most vulnerable people, especially women and youth, who have lost their jobs and they have lost their businesses. So the post-COVID-19 budget should be able to be gender-sensitive, take consideration of the needs of both men and women, especially on how these vulnerable groups can recover or can revive their small businesses or get their jobs back. So we came up with a number of recommendations in a communique, which will be available to the media later on for the public to know exactly what were the recommendations that came out of this meeting. So this conference is going to be a standing conference for speakers to convene when there are urgent matters, and also to follow up on this issue of debt cancellation, and to ensure that the African Parliament and the speakers have one voice on this, and also learn from each other experience to see how parliaments can be effective in their oversight roles, especially on this issue of post-COVID economic recovery and effective public finance and sustainable economic recovery.
Did you say there are some approaches that the members of or the speakers of Africa have actually come up with to respond to this, for this economic recovery in this period of COVID-19?
Yeah, some people feel that some parliaments are weak. Some parliaments are weak and are not strong enough to provide a strong overall sight over the executive. So parliament should actually enhance their oversight responsibilities over the executives, and have a collective voice as a continent to call for the cancellation of the debt, which we think is badly affecting and will continue to affect the post COVID-19 economic recovery of the.
So are you going to implement it here now in South Sudan? You're the speaker.
Yeah, sure. We attend this meeting so that we can learn from what is happening in other places. Already here, South Sudan, of course, South Sudan, like any other African countries, was affected by the COVID-19. We had many other challenges that affected our economy. And South Sudan is already in the process of improving its public finance management. So this is something that we as a parliament will be focusing on to ensure that the public finance management is enhanced and strengthened, because South Sudan was also affected by COVID, and most of the vulnerable people, the youth, the women, lost their small businesses. So in our own budget, the new budget, we will make sure that it's gender sensitive, and that it provides for the needs of both men and women and also the youth.
Do you believe that when this is actually implemented here from your August house here in Juba, it will actually recover the economy of the country a little?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it will. Yeah.